Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. I hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this brief middle of the day market updates. We're going to do a new video right here. The title and the thumbnail is something like crucial update. I think at this point of time, just to clarify that, I don't want it to just look like clickbait, of course. Just to clarify that, I mean, I do think genuinely that we are at an important level, not only technically. I think technically for Bitcoin, we're at an important level, which also matters for the markets, because as you can see, and this has been the case since Sunday evening, most altcoins are very correlated to Bitcoin at this point of time. But not only for that, technically, right? Because Bitcoin is at a major support level right here, down to 108,000, and I think we have to hold that. I mean, for example, what we have there is the 3-day trend, right? And we have never gained stability, which is I think the best thing we could wish for right now. I think an uptrend or a continuation of the uptrend, like we had that in July and like we had that in May, is too much to ask for the circumstances and the technicals right now. But if we actually want to get stability, and if we want to stay in this range between 108,000 and 124,000, we do need to get a strong reaction there. Historically, if we don't get some sort of a strong reaction at the 3-day trend, that has not gone down well. So that is something we need to see. So technically, we're at quite a crucial point. But I think in terms of timing, I mean, the shift from summer, so August, into September, has been crucial and has been a very important moment in the past 2 years as well. The past 2 years, that was bullish. And my expectation for this year is bullish as well, but it doesn't necessarily have to be bullish. I mean, this is a critical point. It could also be a critical point to the downside. Now, at this point of time, that's not what I expect, but it is something you have to keep in the back of your mind, right? I mean, if you're only bullish and if you're only open for a bullish bias, and the price starts to tell you something different, you're going to be holding on to positions that you should have sold 20% up higher, at least. But the key reason why I think that now we're at this, and by the way, fundamentally, I think we're at a crucial level as well, with inflation rate data coming out later this week, and obviously potential rate cuts coming in September, or one rate cut. So yeah, I think we're at a crucial level. However, I do think that it is most likely that we will hold this crucial level, and with that I mean hold this crucial support, all right? And that's mainly, does that have to do with the fundamentals, right? I mean, we have a very high likelihood and a rate cut in September. At this point of time on FedWatch, it's about 87%. FedWatch usually is right? And 87% is quite high. Some people are saying, well, rate cuts are actually bearish. All the times that rates were cut in the last 5 years, the markets actually went down. And yes, that is mostly true. However, the general economic circumstances back then were much, much worse, right? I mean, for example, 2 times that rate cuts started was before the dot-com bubble. Yes, I mean, a lot of things actually, or after, I think, actually. But yes, so a lot of things crashed then. And the other time was during the financial crisis in 2007 and 2008. So unless you think that economically we're at the brink, on the verge of something like that, rate cuts are most likely going to be positive, because the economy, especially when we zoom into the US economy, is still doing fine. And that's also something you can see in stocks. I mean, you can see right here that stocks are still doing fine. Not only the S&P 500, but also the Russell 2000. We have a very high likelihood at rate cuts. The volatility index is very low. Gold is very stable. Now, gold is getting some moves up. That is true, but there's also a lot of capital in the world right now that's looking for a place to invest. And gold is a pretty good asset to invest in, regardless of whether there's unrest or not. So I think the fundamentals are fine. So that's also why I think we are going to bounce here for Bitcoin. Now, when we talk specifically about Bitcoin, I do think we can still see a move up higher. Or lower, my apologies. The reaction so far, if you really zoom in, has not been great, right? And there is still support at 108,000. There is a possibility, there's not a lot of momentum coming in on Tuesday. There is a possibility that later during this US session or tomorrow, we're going to get a spike down before a recovery. But that recovery is something, you could call me stubborn, but that is something I do expect, right? So something like this is something which I would say is most likely for now, and then a continuation higher into 114 and 115,000, and then from there we'll see again. I mean, that's a pretty strong resistance level, and like I said, I think getting into stability or staying in stability right here between 108,000 and 120,000 is the main goal here. The main goal is not to get some sort of a bullish continuation and an uptrend. And I think exactly the same for XRP and Ethereum over the course of the day. Those have remained very stable as well. I mean, you can see that on the chart right here. I expected these to bounce, which they have done so far, and I expected them to move up higher and gain stability, and that is happening right now. So far so good, but I also expect that to continue, right? So for them to remain stable and for them to get some more bullish continuation. Now, last but not least, because I'm not done with you yet. I wanted to talk about some altcoins. Most altcoins are very correlated to Bitcoin, right? Like I said, so keep your eyes on Bitcoin. That's very, very crucial right here. But there's a couple of altcoins that I think are quite interesting. Neutron. So this is a little bit of an unknown project, but this is the ticker. A lot of volume. At this point of time, this does not look like an interesting buy, but you know, depending on the price action and depending on the developments of the price action, could actually be very interesting. I think Crow, so this is the crypto.com coin after the news today, it's very interesting, but it's probably too late to buy this, or you should wait for a major breakthrough above 22 cents. The time to buy this was the 8th of July, honestly. And then Bera chain actually is quite strong as well. It's still within some sort of a range, and the market circumstances I think are also not good enough to buy something risky like Bera, but this is definitely something to keep your eyes on, right? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the ticker of Bera chain. Those are my thoughts for today. All right, so hopefully that helps, but that's at least all I got for now. So have a great day, take care everybody, and bye.